Now, of course, I do want to continue speaking about Build Back Better just for a moment, just because when they get back to Washington in January, they're going to pick up on that bill. Now, the North Dakota Senator Kevin Cramer spoke a bit about where that bill should be headed over the next couple months. Obviously, everyone knows that this bill is going to be completely up to Joe Manchin in which direction he decides to go with the bill. In Cramer's eyes, though, there are probably a few other Democrats who are also opposed to the package, who are probably actually breathing a sigh of relief from Manchin being the one to speak out.
Schumer's going to have perhaps two votes. I don't know when. Early January, late January, I have no idea. I think they want to vote on the rule, the legislative process rule, which then allows you to go into the amendments, and then they want to make a final vote. I don't know why. I mean, Senator, the thing is, all they're going to do is keep bashing Joe Manchin. I mean, this is done to discredit Manchin. So I don't really understand the logic. Can you help us?
Well, I can't understand the logic, certainly from a political standpoint, because it's much disfavor as the whole Biden socialist agenda is enjoying, I guess, across the country. I don't know why they'd want to continue it, except that Chuck Schumer has people pulling and pushing and tugging from every possible direction, and I'm sure he's wondering what direction to go. But I do know this, that Joe Manchin may have saved the re-election of 2, 3, or 4 possibly Democratic senators who are, who would have had to vote yes on BBB, on Build Back Better, but would rather not have voted at all. They were awarded this opportunity to give it a pass for a year. And yet they just seem hell-bent on doing it. And maybe there's a whole bunch of Democratic members willing to be martyrs at the altar of socialism. If that's the case, maybe they'll find a way to vote on it yet and further lead to their political demise while destroying the country.
Cramer also makes an interesting comment that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is actually being pushed pretty strongly by one of the representatives in his state, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, to push some of these pieces of legislation through. Cramer believes that Schumer normally wouldn't be for these huge spending bills, but due to the pressure from his more left-leaning colleagues, he's being pushed into moving these bills along.
Well, Senator, it just occurs to me, in terms of Chuck Schumer's legislative and political strategy, that he may not be calling the shots. AOC may be calling the shots. What some people call Sandy Cortez, the House member, who may run against Schumer in the primaries in New York. But, I mean, he's kowtowing to her and her group. That's what it sounds like.
I don't think there's any question, Larry, that in the back of Chuck Schumer's mind, every move he makes, every vote he calls, he's thinking about AOC and the possibility that she'll run against him in a Democratic primary in New York. I do think that's one of those pressure points I talked about earlier. Now, in addition to that, of course, he's got a White House that's tugging at him. He's got Speaker Pelosi that's pulling. They're all responding to those very same pressure points. But it is, in my mind, what's such a great tragedy about it is that a once great Democratic Party has become this bizarre socialist agenda where they seem to be putting all the chips on the table this year while they have control of the House, the Senate, and the White House. And thank God for Joe Manchin and others like him, but especially Joe Manchin, who has, trying to save America and in the process may very well save the Democratic Party.
Well, I don't think I'll save the Democratic Party, but I think all of us will help save America. I mean, yeah. Kevin, the country hates this bill, okay?
Yes,
the country just hates this bill.
So pretty interesting stuff from Cramer. And again, whether Build Back Better ends up ever passing and what all is included in it is going to be completely up to Joe Manchin. It doesn't matter how much progressive Democrats push him to include things like an extension of the child tax credit for just 1 or 2 more years. He's made clear, at least up to this point, that he won't be swayed by anyone in his party. After all, in his own words, he's a senator in West Virginia, representing only West Virginia, and he won't be intimidated by anyone else.
I'm not blaming anybody. I knew where they were, and I knew what they could and could not do. They just never realized it because they figure, surely to God we can move one person. Surely we can badger and beat one person up. Surely we can get enough protesters to make that person uncomfortable enough. They'll just say, okay, I'll vote for anything, just quit. Well, guess what? I'm from West Virginia. I'm not from where they're from, and they can just beat the living crap out of people and think they'll be submissive, period.
If you enjoyed the content in today's video, make sure to give it a like and leave a relevant comment below. Thank you so much, and I truly hope you have a great rest of your day.